So this video we're going to do is by Uno Hunter, and it's Monster Hunter players secretly don't want challenging hunts. And I thought it was a great topic that was suggested in the Discord, because this has been something that I've gone back and forth on in my head as I've watched the Monster Hunter discourse play out around Wilds of like, do these people really want something hard? Are they really going to stick around for this? And we now have like undeniably insanely difficult games. So, insanely difficult hunts. So, I'm curious to see where everyone's landing on, like how serious people were about that.
Right out and say it. I think the people who so I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I think the people who complain about Monster Hunter Wilds or Monster Hunter in general being too easy, I think some of y'all just want to complain, and I think that some of y'all really don't want an actual challenge. You want something that barely challenges you, and then that's it. Because it seems that from what history has shown us, in 5th gen and above, that when we do get into an actual challenge, people run right to Reddit, right to Twitter, start complaining. Or
yeah, speaking of which, we got Alatran in the background. That took me 6 weeks to beat on stream. And like, didn't you guys tell me that Alatran like had people review bombing Iceborne?
Make petitions to try to nerf.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, here we go.
Monsters. Hi, hello. My name's Uno.
Hi,
I didn't know how to start this. I'm kind of just going off the cuff. I don't really have like a script or anything. But I was just kind of like, I don't know. I felt motivated to make this because Gogmazios is coming, and I wanted to get this video out way before it drops, because I think the same thing is going to happen to GOG, where everyone's excited for GOG to get here, and then people are going to complain. What? This is too hard. Unfair hitbox, unfair mechanic, blah blah blah. I'm mad. I can't just use my build, and I don't want to change anything. I just want to fight a harder monster. And
dude, that already started to happen with Omega Planetus, because up until this point, like, it was just only like, there's probably people that were like saying that, and they were only playing this game solo. They weren't playing it multiplayer at all. Like, they were like I'm binging the game. Why can't I like find something even harder to beat? And like, just even the sheer fact that it forces you to like team up. I know that filtered people, and I saw people like on TikTok and stuff. They're like, this is fucking bullshit. This guy's brutal. This is ridiculous. You know, like all that stuff. And I think you can like kind of tell from like the lack of noise that comes out after some of these title updates. Because especially after this last one, and I think maybe after the Arch-Tempered started rolling out, you would hear originally people complaining really loud about like, I want harder monsters, and then they drop harder and harder and harder monsters. And Laggy and Seragios, 9 stars, like, I do not hear people vocally, you know, these people, you know, the noise around how difficult these are is actually not matching the noise that was complaining about the lack of difficulty. So I think a lot of people quietly got filtered, in my opinion. So
that's what's going to happen. It's going to be Alatran Fatalis all over again. We didn't get too much of that in Rise, because I think less people played in. I don't think the really insane stuff happened until like anomalies and Risens and stuff, but I digress. I'm pretty sure that GOG is going to expose a lot of people in our, you know, community. I see it coming now, and that sucks, because
is he's thinking it's going to be like harder than Omega Planetus? Like, am I going to get filtered? I did Alatran. I'm not ready to do Alatran 2.0. I'll tell you that much, you know, but was fun. Oh, GJ says, was funny watching people playing Wilds that said it was too easy. Come back to Omega after having dropping the game back in Title Update 1. Yeah, they always complain louder than they praise. Well, I don't even want them to praise. I just want to hear the complaining that it's too hard afterwards, so that we can have the conflicting opinions. That's all I want.
How can you? I think people just want to complain, and then more people see it and be like, you know what? I want to be a part of something. I'm gonna complain too. By the way, I know this is Rise. No, wow. there's no script here. I'm going off the cuff. This is
That's
World,
fine.
and the point that I'm making has to do with Alatreon and people saying that it's unfair.
Yeah.
I'm not a great sword main. No, nothing wrong with great sword. Just I'm a horn main. I solo monster with the hunting horn, and in this game I also use the long sword. I don't really use the great sword too much. But the point that I'm trying to make is a lot of people say that the great sword matchup you can't do it, and I kind of wanted to use this as my B-roll to show that you don't even got to play perfectly or even have a crazy build. The build I probably put on the screen somewhere, but you don't need a crazy build to beat Alatreon. He's not nowhere near as unfair as all these people keep saying. It's just that a lot of people are not good at the end, and or you aren't good at the neutral.
It was a huge filter.
It's
It was a huge filter. I barely made it through. My complaints with Alatreon was that the whole thing felt like a gimmick in the sense that you had to learn how that fight went. But now that I've played more Monster Hunter, I guess they've used that in other hunts. But somewhere along the way, you just end up having to learn the hard way that sometimes they add a monster that just has a straight up DPS check, which I just didn't have that concept in my mind before Alatreon. But having fought Omega Planitas, once I realized it was a DPS check, I was like, oh, okay, well, we know exactly what to do for that. But Gore is still super hard for me, Lowell. I don't know if I can handle any harder than Omega. Yeah, I don't think I've successfully soloed a 9-star Gore yet, or a 9-star Laggy even as a dual blades user. They're brutal. I might have a shot now. I think I've been pushed pretty far by Omega and the last two Arch Tempereds. I think I could have a shot, but yeah. I feel like the kind of difficulty is important here. Yeah, that's true.
That's.
Hey, you. It's me again.
No.
Well, guess what? We have good news.
Yeah, I can't say if that's facts or not, but that's just how I feel. That is how I feel. Oh my God, that was a beautiful TCS. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm rewatching this as I'm recording, so I'm just going to be talking about my thoughts about the whole difficulty crisis. You can't see me, but I'm doing quotation marks crisis that Monster Hunter has been having. Something else that I want to talk about is the complaints that people are having about Wilds, but not having them about World is confusing. Well, no, it's not confusing as much because I know a lot of people started in World. But if you didn't start in World, then you would know that World is probably one of the biggest offenders when it comes to making things easier and like ease of access and things of that nature. Because I hate to sound like a broken record, but World introduced being able to move around and heal. I will forever be blown away with that. That was wild. Before you had to flex. Yeah, you had to flex. You can't see me, but I'm flexing. You had to flex before you could do anything. It also added
stuff like that is like what I think. Listen, those older games, that puts them in the category of like a retro JRPG for me, or like an arcade JRPG or action RPG, like an arcade action RPG. It's not like, which means like I would play it and stuff. So like if, I would play these older Monster Hunters, but I would play them like I would play Crisis Core or Final Fantasy VII, which was a PSP game and was like kind of has that arcadey feel, or like, I'm trying to think of others that have a good, maybe like old Tales games. Like I would play them enough to be good enough to beat the story, roll the credits, that kind of a thing. But like in no situation am I like making that my whole like life to like get good at something that feels like that. So I'm personally always in favor of them streamlining this stuff more and more. It can stay an action RPG. It doesn't need to be a full action game, obviously. I think everyone can recognize when that genre shift happens. And if you don't, maybe I can make a video on that, because I've had a lot of discussions and arguments with people about what defines an action RPG. But I think the more that you streamline this stuff, the more it can become about skills and skill issue, and I think that's just where the meat of the game is. So when people complain about I just think that's the wrong thing to complain about with this game. Of all games, like every other game, I understand like other games where it's like, if you were like, I don't know, this, I could see people like saying, like, I started playing FF14. That's my first MMO. My first thought was they need to streamline the hell out of this whole genre. But the more I play, I can understand people like that it's complicated and stuff, or if you play like Hearts of Iron, like crazy complex map games, that's the appeal. That's just not, I just don't think that's the core appeal of Monster Hunter. The core appeal of Monster Hunter is difficult monster hunts. And the more you streamline the mechanics, the less excuses there are for someone like me who's going to be like, hey, fuck this radial menu not responding. It's, like I get mad and I like blame the game. I'm not seriously doing it, but someone out there's probably seriously doing that, in these older generations. We couldn't even retrieve traps and bombs until now. Some features take a while to get considered over here. Lol. Yeah, that's brutal. But yeah, stuff like that's kind of crazy. Yeah, just things
honestly,
like
I think tracking monsters is pretty cool. I am kind of sad that tracking monsters wasn't in Wilds. I feel like that was like a perfectly missed opportunity there, but I digress.
It's a cool concept, but I mean, like, which is it? Like, if you want to make a game where it's about, or like, which one do you want? Do you want to role play as like you're tracking the monster, or do you want like people to like try and like get really good at the game? Because I feel like at the end of the day, like that's why everybody's putting in the thousands of hours, is to like see how good they can get, and then the developers like come up with ways to like confound those players and stuff like that. So I don't know, but I do agree that was a cool concept. But the trade-off of not having that in Wilds is that I'm just in battle after like hunt after hunt after hunt, and I'm seeing my skills level up really fast. So,
and yes, I know performance issues.
But I did
we're not
like
talking about
it.
that. We're talking
I
about
understand.
Excuse me. But no more pickaxes are unlimited in world now, which interesting. You don't need bug nets anymore. You can just kind of walk by and snatch up bugs from the tree or whatever. Sharpening, you can roll out of sharpening. That's crazy. I know that with Wilds they made it even easier, where each time you stroke, I know what I said. Each time you stroke, you get a little bit more sharpening. So you can do 2 strokes. I know what I said again, and then kind of just roll out of it. Back in the day, that's a cell phone contract. You locked in now. The moment you start sharpening, either you finish or you're getting hit by the monster, and there is no rolling out of that. And
that I won't comment on, because that actually seems like it's significantly. It's 2 different kinds of skill. Like you have to time the sharpening versus like for it to last a long time in the old games, versus you're kind of timing the sharpening in the new games, and then also like timing the dodge. I would have to play the older games and see how I feel about that. In theory, both of them seem valid, although obviously the new one's more convenient, but there's a lot of other things different about in the new ones as well. So I don't know.
World introduced all of those.
Yeah.
And then, subsequential games expanded on that, but World was the starter, the progenitor of kind of making the game a lot more easier and accessible. I'm okay with it. I know a lot of people aren't, but I'm okay with it. But it's just one of those things that because people started in World, they're kind of judging it through the eyes of World when it comes to Wilds. I started in 3rd Fleet. I was the last ship to get off 3rd Fleet, which was 3 Ultimate, but...
¿Por qué tu ex compañero?
Okay, man. Okay, while this ad plays. So, like, I guess... I guess then the theory would be like... all the people that came in during World are the ones that are complaining about Wilds being too easy. But in reality... prior to World, you had to be pretty hardcore. You could say it was like skill based, or like you just had to have a high tolerance for frustration is what I would call it. Maybe, I don't know. I'll have to go back and play like Generations Ultimate or something and see how I feel, or 4, or like whatever. But like, you had to be about it one way or the other. You had to be about it to be into Monster Hunter. It was more exclusive, more like, you had to have a higher pain tolerance of some sort, whether it was difficulty or, just the mechanics themselves and all that together. So these guys are complaining that the game is like too easy after coming in at an easier time in their life. In the game's life, the series' life, I guess.
I digress. And much like when Alatreon and Fatalis dropped, you got a couple of hunts that were, pretty tough, but for the most part, you didn't really have to change your build.
I'll never be okay with having item restocks. That does feel like cheating a little bit, if I'm being totally honest, but these monsters feel like they're cheating sometimes. God damn it.
And then
So
Alatreon dropped, and you kind of had to make a build for Alatreon, and a lot of people don't like the preparatory aspect of Monster Hunter, where if you started back in the day, that was like the most important part of Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
To prepare for your hunts. Also, World introduced being able to eat after you left, that was interesting, and also being able to just restock while you're out on the hunt. Also interesting. I'm not bad at it.
So that got added in World, huh?
But I know there's some people that are bad at it. But a lot of people don't want to have to change their build. Like, oh, I gotta do all this for Alatreon. Not really. Honestly, you could take the exact same build that you normally use.
No, I couldn't.
Slot in max ice attack, and you're probably chilling.
No, I was
people
cooked.
don't want to do that.
I was cooked. Chat was like having a full blown, like, it wasn't even Alatreon where this started. Chat was just regularly like theorizing around the optimal builds for me and my fucking issues that I was having at the time. At any point, like beyond, from like high rank on, basically. I had a good run in Iceborne up to a certain point, but even in like high rank world, like Lunastra, like we were theorizing like, okay, well you get your ass hit a lot, you get your ass kicked a lot. So maybe you should use maybe you should use latent power. Okay, now we're kind of getting somewhere. Maybe we can go for like more of a Wex. But I forget exactly what we were all using, but like I remember specifically for Alatreon, poor Glitzy and Milk and all you guys were like, you were like group brainstorming like, well, can we eke out a little extra damage from like maybe this gem goes on it, or like like it was rough, man. I'd love to go back and watch the Alatreon VODs, though. Such good times. I'm gonna put something together. It would be fun to do, but it's so much to go through. But they're on the VODs channel. They're definitely there. It's like it's so funny. You scroll through my VODs channel and there's just like 3 rows of it's only Alatreon. So Rage compilation would be gold. Yeah. Do you think people care about Alatreon post Wilds? Do you think Wilds has been out long enough that the interest is spreading to the other games again? I could like look into that. So, but yeah, no, I was struggling, and that was like really forcing me to think about the builds. So to like, what are you saying about as like a newer hunter, like what he's saying about the builds is, and people not wanting to prep is true, but I think there's just got to be like a certain kind of resolution with, or like a certain kind of compromise between the player, maybe newer players and the devs, about like what is like fun prep for like a lot of people. And I do think I get the impression, not from this guy's reasonable, but from like old head comments on Reddit and stuff like that, I do get the impression like some older Monster Hunter players have Stockholm syndrome. Like when they talk about like, you had to do all this like crazy shit just to like get in the hunt and like do all this other stuff. And so like maybe the pendulum swung too far the other way. Because I know some people in chat are saying that. I think, maybe you could make that case. But like I would just be curious for us to come to a consensus on what is fun and meaningful prep. Like, is cooking a meal fun and meaningful prep? Yeah, maybe. Is like painstakingly gathering like specific ingredients for that one meal that you need that like, you know, takes you as long as it would to like do another practice hunt meaningful prep and enjoyable? I didn't enjoy that even in World, you know? So like, it's kind of like, there's got to be like a balance there, but, you know, so I just wish they'd improved some of those challenging systems instead of cutting them entirely. Yeah. At the very least, Mon Hunt difficulty is a talked about topic currently, World or no. Well, I think like the majority of the conversation around it is about the actual difficulty of the monsters, and I just think there's no excuse for that level of complaining. Like it's obvious, like there's, you know, it was perfectly difficult. Honestly, I think it was acceptably difficult at launch. We were having an easy time because it wasn't our first Monster Hunter. But I struggled like crazy in World, and everyone said World was like, you know, a lot easier and stuff. I was like a freaking, like a, what would you even say? I was like a drunk guy. I was like a drunk guy in a sledgehammer shop in World, you know, and I was a drunk guy in a tool shop in World. Like, how do I use this switch axe or whatever? Like, it was a mess, and that was the easiest one. So like, there was somebody fumbling around with focus mode. They're like, it's like a shooter, but I can't figure it out, you know, like that kind of thing. So I thought it was, you know, it was fine, and then it was going to get harder eventually. And then they just took it to a million over the summer, you know, over like the late summer because of the complaining.
They think that
so
you have to
that's all like skill based, like actual combat stuff.
build a specific build.
Just
Now,
no,
if you do
that's just reached a very clear conclusion.
build a specific build, it's going to make your time a lot easier. And yes, technically, you could just go in raw. Once again, I know what I said, but you could just do it raw. Like, yeah, you're gonna cart to the eschaton, maybe get some fortify and stuff, but you can just do it raw, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But a lot of people they don't like that.
Fine.
Oh, this is too hard. He flies for too long, and he wastes the time. He does all this stuff. As you see in the B-roll in the background, it doesn't seem like I'm having. Okay, I say that and then immediately got hit. I'm not having too much of a trouble. Now, I don't think I'm like this super expert. Now, I have done some crazy feats, like I have soloed Fatalis with a high rank hunting horn. So maybe I'm not exactly the best with that, but that's why I wanted to use Greatsword, and I used just like a cookie cutter 4 pieces of normal Volcana, not Gamma, and threw on some Garuga legs, and that was the build. Frostcraft, Greatsword, for people who are like, oh, you can't beat her, you can do her Greatsword. It's just that you're not good at the neutral and or probably not that great at the game, because this hunt, you know, typically when you start a hunt in World, you throw on your Anyway, you throw on your Temporal Mantle or Rocksteady, you grab onto the monster, you spin it, and you flinch shot him.
Yeah.
And because of that, you don't got to worry about the neutral too much if it's not agitated. Where with this hunt, hey, I hope your neutral's good, because you can't just flinch shot him just because. That ain't how it worked. A lot of people, you know, oh, I won a challenge and got a challenge and was like, look, or let's use Wilds, for example. Wilds is too easy. I pulled a you know who, and I beat it blindfolded. It's so easy. Then those 9-star monsters coming out, it's like, whoa, hold on.
I even started to fall for the hype. I had like I started to believe the hype. I was like, all right, it's time. We're gonna do our Ultimate Monster Hunter challenge, and like, you know, every single weapon, I'm gonna beat the 5 hardest monsters with it. And then, oh man, that didn't last very long at all.
Seregios isn't fair. How am I supposed to dodge the double swipe? Hold on. Seregios isn't fair. How am I supposed to dodge the double swipe? How am I supposed to do that? I copied the build from Alcoholic Semen Thrower 69. He doesn't use it, and he doesn't get hit. Why do I get hit? I copied the build perfectly. It's because you're not that good at the game.
Or you don't use dual blades. I love Seregios, man. I do great with Seregios. My game sense from dual blades is just perfectly aligned with Seregios.
Copying someone else's build is not going to make you mysteriously just good at the game.
Dodge it. I demon dodge it. That's great. And then I get rocked, absolutely rocked by laggy.
It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. Oh, that TCS. Where if you put some evade window or some evade extender, then yeah, maybe you're probably going to be chilling. Now, of course, if you're a gun lance user, I can't speak much for that because I don't really use shielded weapons like that. But for us who got to dodge, maybe put in some stuff to dodge.
Yeah.
Now I know Peppo, he don't really have to use stuff like that, but that's Peppo. Peppo can counter everything. You're not Peppo. You're not going to be able to counter everything. Fellow longsword users, put some evade window on there. Maybe evade extender, something. Like, it's not all about how much damage you're doing.
That's kind of been my latest progression in like build making and thinking about that. Going into hunts is the tension or the I guess the spectrum of evade. I guess extender is the main one. The sliding scale of evade extender that I'm comfortable with, depending on if it's a hunt that is just against a new / very difficult monster, or if it's a like timed hunt and I'm trying to get A rank, like against the Arch-Tempereds. Because I started with like, oh yeah, I need all the evade extender. And then I think the first time I noticed it was against Arch-Tempered Raidao. It was like, shit, I'm evading too far away from Raidao as a dual blades main to be like still on his ass, to be dealing as much DPS as I need to get close to an A rank on this time. Like I would like do a demon dodge and I would just like go shoo, like past him or whatever. It's like, shit, I'm going to have to lower the evade extender. And then that totally I had to learn to adjust my play style and stuff. It's like, okay, I'm not jetting all over the place anymore as I dodge and stuff. So I couldn't spam that so much. And then when I would demon dodge, I would also not fly so much. So that was my personal evolution on that front.
But back to Wilds, non-star monsters came. People started complaining about Seregios. A little bit of Lagiacrus. I'm not calling it the other way. Lagiacrus. And then Omega Planetes dropped. And it was Fatalis and Alatreon all over again. Well, I think some people also complained a little bit about Arch-Tempered Volcana, but it was so overshadowed by the hatred of the other two that you didn't hear it as much. But
I think that by the time Arch-Tempered Volcana came out, like there had already been so much bullshit with the other Arch-Tempered monsters in World. Like Arch-Tempered Kushala, are you fucking kidding me? Fuck that thing. Fuck that concept. Fuck that fucking monster. That is the dumbest shit I have ever played. I have never been so furious at him. It wasn't even the hardest. I never want to touch it ever again. I'm never going to beat that. I'm never going to touch it. That was so stupid. Are you kidding me? That was the most rage baited I've ever been outside of, I think that one earnestly was the worst I like got rage baited. Everything else was like, you know, it was kind of like I had it coming because it was hard. And that one was just, dude. So yeah, by the time it was like, oh, it's another, you know, the Alatreon and Fatalis were novel additions to World, I guess, you know, at least. But like, it was like, oh, another Arch-Tempered that's going to like just wreck my shit out of nowhere in some bullshit way. Okay, sure.
People complaining like, oh, this fight isn't fair. The hitboxes, the time limit of Savage Omega. Then there's the...
I still don't have all the Omega mats I need. I lucked out, Waddle. I apparently do better with the regular Omega set than the Savage Omega set for anything that I had interest in. So I lucked out big time on that. So yeah, I don't have it finished either for Savage.
And there's Scylla.
I love being in a tornado 24/7, unable to do anything. Windproof doesn't work. So fun. You have streamer luck? I do have. I've had some ridiculous streamer luck this year, haven't I? Yeah, you're right. I had, it went away like through, you know, the second half of like my Monster Hunter World playthrough. I would say it kind of diminished, or it would come and go in phases. Wilds, it was like okay starting out, and from title update 2 on, I've had like absolute blessings, like streamer blessings in terms of math.
The hitboxes, the time limit of Savage Omega. Then there's the Nursilla, and then like, okay, are you using the stuff around Nursilla? Are you using the Cactars? Are you using the paralysis dude mans, or are you just fighting it? Like, there's game mechanics there for a reason. You can use them. It's not as hard as you're making it out to be.
I use chat members. I can pay close enough attention to that. I like, dude, the Omega fight is so overwhelming. I'm hanging on for dear life, trying not to, add to the cart count.
But people complain. People complain all throughout. This game's so easy. And then the moment we got something that was even sort of hard, remotely hard, required planning, required maybe like getting a better build, required even teamwork. Now I'm someone that's solo, so I ain't gonna be too much of a hypocrite, but it requires teamwork. And then people are like, no, this is too hard. This is not fair. I don't know, where was that energy with things too hard? Now I want the game to be harder. Because GOG is gonna come, and then the same thing's gonna happen. Because, some people are like, oh, Omega doesn't count. It's not even from this game. Well, I want a challenge, but I want it to be an actual monster. And then GOG Mazios is gonna come and is gonna gog up everybody.
What am I walking into with GOG, man?
I don't know what y'all gonna say to that, because there's gonna be no Johns. Please. You can't say any no Johns about that one. It's a monster. It's an
okay. I'm gonna pull this up. I'm not gonna share it, but this is my DMs with Ethan, who is the Monster Hunter noob. I'm just gonna read them out to you real quick. Let's see. Yeah, so he hadn't, so yeah, I'd had him on, and we hunted together with Shane, who's the other noob that I had, and he messaged me because he hadn't played the game in several months. He skipped title update 2, and was kind of just waiting for more title updates to come out, and he was just kind of jump back in and experience the whole end game that way. But he got curious with title update 3, so he messaged me. He messaged me, and all I got from him was, I tried that Omega bullshit. Kill yourselves. So, I was like, solo? You idiot. I told you it's for 4 people. We need our 4 of us back. He's like, nah, do it. We were out by 9 minutes 3 times. I'm too casual for that right now. And I was like, no, dude, it doesn't scale like that. You need 4. And he's like, fuck that with 4 emojis. I hate Monster Hunter with 4 emojis. Oh, God. And then I explained it more to him, and I'm like, and he was like, I see the vision. It's clever. It's just evil. Oh.
Elder Dragon, people have been begging for Elder Dragons for a long time now. Now we got Elder Dragons. The Elder Dragon, people have been begging for Elder Dragons. You can't say any Johns about that one. It's a monster.
It does have scaling, but only for 1 player or 4 player. Yeah, I explained that.
It's an Elder Dragon. People have been begging for Elder Dragons for a long time now. Now we got Elder Dragons, so you're getting 2 in 1. You're gonna get a challenging hunt, and you're gonna get an Elder Dragon. So when this game, when GOG comes out, because I want to make sure I got this video out before GOG.
Yeah, but if it's a siege, it's gonna be like different. I don't know if it's gonna be the same kind of. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. If it really is a siege, like, it's gonna be tough, but it's a different. Sieges are a different kind of tough, are they not? Do you guys not agree? Do you guys agree with that? Than like a true Elder Dragon. But if it's an I don't know if we've had an Elder Dragon siege, so maybe it's gonna be like a mix. I haven't seen GOG, so I don't know like how big this thing is and like how that's gonna factor into how it works.
GOG came because I know what's gonna happen. I hope to not see a whole bunch of discourse. I say that as if everybody's gonna be watching this. Highly doubtful. But
we're all watching.
To some of you who've seen this, just know I am gonna be a little peeved a little perturbed if I hear about or see some stuff. If I see a Meat Man video drop talking about the Monster Hunter community is complaining.
GOG will probably be as big as Fatalis. Huh. In that case, like maybe it wouldn't need to be a siege. Or maybe it can be like a hybrid.
About GOG. I'm blaming some of y'all.
Like, because I think of siege monsters as really slow and like just damage sponges and with big damage attacks. But it's not like Fatalis, you know? He's definitely bigger than Fatty.
I'm blaming some of y'all. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to use the B-roll back here of me using the Greatsword as footage. Is like, you don't gotta play perfect. I think people see speedrunners and then expect that that's the level that you gotta be at. Like right now, people are saying like Hunting Horn is overpowered. Ooh. Did I card here? I haven't seen this in a while. Hold on, did I?
Well, to be fair, as a streamer, there's like 2 levels you got to be at. You either got to be a total noob, or 3. You got to be a total noob, you got to lie and say you're a total noob, or you got to be a speedrunner. That's who pays attention to you. Or that's what gets paid attention to.
Where now people are saying, hold on, did I? Okay. Anyway,
I'm currently pioneering a 4th category, which is going to be, I don't know. I'm just coming up with other entertaining things like, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a fashion hunter.
Now people are saying that Hunting Horn.
That's going to be the future of my Monster Hunter career between now and when I become a speedrunner, whenever that is.
It's overpowered, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love my Hunting Horn, but it's more so QUA is just a god.
Mm-hmm.
That is one person. that is one person. And then the same thing happened. No, not as much in Rise, but a little bit with Risen Shaggy. A lot of people are complaining about Risen Shaggy as well, but you don't really hear as much hate with Rise because a lot of people just didn't like Rise. They didn't vibe with it, which fair enough.
Rise was great. I don't know what people's
I'm getting
problem
off topic.
is. Rise is what I talk about when I say like arcade JRPG or arcade action RPG. Like those games are great. It's just like I don't have a huge interest in like dumping 1,000 hours into it to get really good at it. But I found something in Rise that I liked, which was like the airborne dual play. It's like that was hilarious and fun, and it's just super anime and like really fast movements and dodge rolls and stuff. And you know, it's kind of very like start stop, very kind of quick. You know, kind of got a retro feel to it. I like Rise was fine, but it's just, yeah, I get it. Like it's not World and it's not Wild, but you know, Rise is just another Mon Hun game. Therefore, it was fun. That's all I have to say about it, really. Maybe we can do Rise Sunbreak between Wild's title updates. Ooh, that might be a good idea. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Yeah, let me think about that. That would be.
I don't understand where's the middle ground of what you want to be difficult, because if it's just a damage buff to the monster, he just does more damage, that's not more difficult. Or if it's he just has more HP, he's a damage sponge, that's not more difficult. I feel like y'all are.
I feel like if this is a siege monster, like some people think it's gonna be, I think he's gonna hear that a lot, because that's what I think of when I think of siege monsters. Is they are damage sponges and they do like have huge attacks, but it's just, and it's gonna be more of the same kind of a pivot in terms of play style that Omega Planetus was, which was that it wasn't just getting good as a solo hunter. You had to like learn how to play on a team. And so if you were like one of these guys that was like trying to sweat through the game and like, I'm binging everything solo and then I'm done, I'm moving on to my next game, and you're like, that was too easy. And then you circle back and you're like, what the heck, I can't beat it. It's because like you haven't slowed down and like hunted with friends and like gotten like, you know, into like a rhythm there. It's going to be even more of a pivot if it's a siege monster, is it not? Because like with you like we're coordinating like crazy for like, you know, even though Mega Planetus, but I remember for those siege monsters we were coordinating like crazy on the streams and stuff. So I think this is a recipe to get a ton of complaints, to be honest. A ton of complaints, because it's going to, if it's a siege monster. If it's not a siege monster and it's just an elder dragon, like, you know, and then it's going to be a bunch of invalid complaints. Well, they're both going to be invalid, but, you know, it's going to be a bunch of, like, complaints where the easy response is just going to be, get good, you know. Whereas, like, get good and you asked for this. Whereas this one is going to be, like, you're going to have to say to them, like, adjust your play style, get good, and you kind of asked for this. So, I don't know. A damage sponge, sure, but with different ways to chunk their health by using whatever siege mechanics they implement. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully those are fun.
Wanting, or not y'all, but there's some people who are wanting, like, different...
Their mechanics that they've done in everything so far in this generation... I've actually been fine with, and I'm usually like the first one to call it gimmicky, and I think this is the best generation for that, where they add new mechanics. Like, it's just, I don't know, it just feels more solid for the most part, you know. Maybe certain stuff's stupid, like I thought the Street Fighter update was stupid, you know, but like whatever.
Different moves. And that comes in master rank. We're not going to get that in low and high rank. Or if we do, maybe, you know, Arch Tempered, it gets like a new move usually. But like, this is still high rank. And I think people are forgetting that.
Yeah.
With the difficulty discussion. And something else that I think people are forgetting is when you started playing World, your skill level is not the same as it was then as it is currently. So things that were harder then are not going to even be remotely hard now, because before you'd be like, oh, I struggled in high rank, what happened? Now I just kind of ran through it, to be fair.
Also, the controls in World were worse, so you were playing worse in World. So it was two things. You got really good. I'm saying this is someone that came up in World. You got really good in World, and you were playing on inferior controls, objectively, regardless of the streamlined conversation. Come on, nobody's going back to World after they play Wilds for so long, right? Focus mode or no, however you feel, like. And so then you step into Wilds, and it's like Rock Lee and Naruto when like Guy Sensei tells him he can take off his weights during his fight with Gaara. It's like the difficulty's been reset back to a normal base game for Monster Hunter. There's no Alatreon, and like the controls are so much better. It's like 480. It's like the gameplay equivalent of like 480p jumping to 1080p, you know. Like World was the weighted cuffs that came off for Wilds. Yeah. I mean, oh man, I went back to World after Rise, and World was easy. Oh, interesting. No hard spoilers, but GOG did have his own thing going on. Oh, okay. Yeah, man.
Wilds is a lot easier, so I will give you that. But my confusion is that when you complain about how...
Or are we sharing the same brain cell with those statements? No.
But my confusion is that when you complain about how easy it is, then get a monster or monsters that require you to prep, that require you to be good at the game, that require you to be mindful with your attacks, don't overextend and just throwing out stuff. Because I've been watching a lot of stuff, and I lurk in a lot of streams, and the amount of times I've seen people complain, whether it's like, oh god dang it, the sacred got me carded, like, well, you probably calling the sacred a little too much. Or, oh, the stupid clutch claw, I just won his flinch shot. Well, was the monster freaking flailing around like wacky waveable and feeling whatever the crap that is? Was he doing all that movement? And then you try to clutch claw him? Blah, blah. This is there's no script here. I'm just kind of going off the cuff. Sorry about that.
Oh my god, I'm having flashbacks to Alatreon, just missing him constantly with the clutch claw.
Was he flailing around and you tried to clutch claw him and he just like flipped you off and you're like, oh, this stupid game, the stupid clutch claw?
That stupid clutch claw?
Oh, yeah.
You have 3 wishes. What's the first?
Dog, I just get the most trash AI ads for you.
Kidding me?
You better the game. That's all I can really say. Now, if you're one of the people who already thought Monster Hunter was hard,
It is
hey,
hard.
this video is not for you. And how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay, because GOG is gonna gog you up, and I apologize. Beautiful TCS, by the way. It's just like, let me know down below, like, what am I missing? Because maybe I don't understand. I play games solo for the most part. I don't understand.
Another thing that bothers me about Wild's too hard now, stop using the Game and Mobalytics meta build and put some comfort skills on then forehead. Yeah, you definitely need to be, if it's your first game especially, you need to be comforting yourself. You need to be sitting pretty on divine blessings and all that stuff, you know. I'm gonna get cocked so hard as well.
What difficulty specifically do people want? And also, why complain about a game being easy, and then when it gets harder, there's this big commotion? Because I think what people want to do, I think people want to build these really big damage builds, and then fight like a mediocre, somewhat hard monster, and then continuously use their combos on repeat without little to no type of pushback. And
I feel like there's other games where you can just do that, and they're like confusing those games, these games for those games, right? Like, what would that be? Like, I don't know. This isn't God of War or something.
that's honestly what I think it is. Because
Horizon Zero Dawn was like that. It was like, it's like Monster Hunter, but it's a shooter with a bow and arrow, and it wasn't that hard. It wasn't easy all the way through, but you know, it was like, it was just all cool factor.
I otherwise I don't understand. Well, what's the word that everybody uses? Tension. The tension word has been going around a lot lately, and
Oh,
he's gone. And that's it. I didn't play crazy or nothing, but the word tension has been going around a lot. Same thing with like tourists, because like
any JRPG where you can outstat the enemy, really? Yeah. I feel like Elden Ring is a game that really nailed that, because they allowed you to outstat they had like this open world with all these bosses, and whenever you got stuck on a boss, you could just go explore elsewhere, and theoretically you could outstat the boss to a certain level, but they had carefully architected the game so that there were some substantial bosses that were bottlenecking your progress into other bigger areas. And you could like there would be like a wall, and you could go explore elsewhere and everything, but you wouldn't be able to outstat them. It still ended up being a skill issue. That was like the first game that I saw where they like played with it and let you do both. In Monster Hunter, I don't think it's really, I don't know if it's about outstatting, you know, so I don't know why people would ever go into it like that. So
like the whole anime thing, and then you know people might here's the build. Hold on, I'm gonna shut up. That was the build. That's it. I even show you the layered armor. No.
In Mon Hunter, you can wear in-game gear but still cart to a Chemitress if you play like a moron. Yes, that's very true.
Health augment, nothing. Health augment does help though. That's the full build. I don't even got max crit boost. I even have some. Well, it comes with divine protection, but a lot of people want certain tension and stuff, and I think that when a monster ends up being hard and it actually challenges them, I think some people have like a little bit of a crisis of like, wait, I'm supposed to be good at this game. Why am I losing? Why am I losing now? And then instead of being like, dang, maybe I'm not that great at this game as I thought, maybe let me like level myself up, immediately start blaming the game. Oh, this is unfair. Oh, unfair hitbox. Even though I'm overcommitting and doing all these extra things. Man, I don't know if any of this made any sense, but that's the video. Let me know down below, how do you feel about the difficulty things? Do you think the difficulty in Wilds is good where it is now, especially with Omega? Do you hope GOG is even harder than Omega, or do you prefer for GOG to be a little bit easier? Let me know. Also, let me know, do you actually think that Alatreon was fair? Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Drink your water. I can't believe I talked almost nonstop.
Define fair. I don't think there's really anything to complain about with Wilds' difficulty. I think, like, for me, there's still plenty of monsters I need to backtrack in solo. Like, I got issues. I got issues with 9-star Gore. I've got issues with 9-star Laggy. I've got... I was not able to get sub-A, or to get, you know, A ranks on any of the Arch-Tempereds unless... or if I soloed them, you know, I mean, like if I like doing them solo on the Arch-Tempered challenges, I was not able to get them. In a group, yeah, sure. And Omega Planetus, Savage Omega Planetus is brutal. If I'm not warmed up for that, I'm dragging the team down. It doesn't really even matter if it's a group. So, I don't really want this to be harder. I just don't. I'm only going off of the trailer for GOG Mazios, but I don't need that to be even more brutal than Savage Omega. I'd rather wait until the expansion for that, you know, and just like let's make it almost as hard and make it a siege quest or some other kind of special event style thing that, you know, kind of makes it interesting, and has a lot of longevity to it. And I think we're good. I think we're good on base game at that point. And then I don't know what, you announce expansion sometime next year, and then you give us hell. You give us hell for that, because you're giving us hell right now. This is still high rank, and like, even if you like are able to master everything with one weapon in this game, you know, which not a lot of people are doing, because this video is about complaining about how hard it is. Like, you could always there's 13 other weapons, you know, like there's 13 other weapons, and you're going to suck with all of them, you know, if you've only played the one, and, you know, usually, or, you know, you may suck with all of them. You may suck with some of them. You know what I mean? But, Dylan says, I still won't touch a 9-star Surageous without another hunter in the hunt. Yeah, and it's different for everybody too. So like we've got plenty of time to like exchange notes with each other and stuff, because like, you know, Dylan's out here fighting for his life with Suragios, and as dual blades main, like I love Suragios, which I know is kind of unpopular, but I can't do 9-star Gore as dual blades main. I have to get really good to be able to do 9-star Gore. I might be able to do it now. I might have been forced to get good from Omega, Savage Omega. But, you know, so I think there's just plenty of meat in this game if we really want it. I don't, it could be hard. It could be hard and it would be fine. It would be the same. It's the same thing, you know, just like as long as it's like, you know, long enough. And then what was his last question? He said, did you think Alatreon was fair? I think at that stage in the game, people aren't looking for fair, because that's so late even into Iceborne, you know? Like, I don't think, they felt optional, you know, to be honest. Like, I didn't feel like a pressing need to do them like the way they were structured in the game. You know, you beat Velkhana, and then you beat Sharish Valda, and then you were doing the grinding lands and all that, and then they unlock, and it's just kind of cool to try them even, you know. Like, I did Alatreon as a feat, you know, to kind of really push myself, and that was like a core memory doing that. But I ran out of time to do Fatalis solo, and but it was just cool just having the experience and then beating him in a group with the chat, you know. So yeah, they weren't fair, but I think the point of those like very last monsters are to be brutal, you know. So Alatreon was definitely fair. It was only unfair for people who never wanted to change their weapon. I didn't think changing the weapon was that big a deal. Like that's not the part that I struggled with. You know, we got the weapon changed. It's fine. And you know, I just think in the context of that game, it was a hard swap or a hard pivot to, I guess, the elemental stuff and the elemental changes and the DP. Like, there was just nothing else like that in the game. Like, I had never been forced into doing that, you know? So, but I mean, the fight itself was very, just the time, like the fight itself is tough, but fair. Like, I don't think it's like, I don't know if there's anything potentially about him that is outrageous, but it's the time limit that's like really messed up. And like your need to break horns, like kind of, you know, to like delay that. And it's just like a combination of the timing and like what you need to be aiming for that I can't imagine doing him with dual blades, for example. Like, how would that even, I don't even know how it would have, like, well, you got to clutch onto his horn and like hit his horn. Like, how do you hit his horn with dual blades? Like, that would have been a nightmare, dude. You know, so the things I was complaining about Alatreon with were like those parts, which I felt were gimmicky, you know, like the just the deep at the time. And now I've just kind of accepted that Monster Hunter does this. And I don't know, maybe because I'm more used to it, I didn't hate it with Omega Planetus, but I could see like a noob fighting Omega Planetus and just being pissed that like it's just not super clear that DPS check is what that is, you know, like it's just not clear until you learn the hard way, until he kills you immediately, or, you know, he kills you outright, you know. So I think that's, you know, but. Yeah, I just remember it being brutal. Like, I never recovered from Alatreon. I think I was like, at that point, I was like, it's just never, I don't think, I was like, it's going to take like another year of playing the game very intensively to like be able to make a push like that. So, like, it wasn't like, oh, that was a good workout session. And like, I really like, now it's like I've recovered and I'm a stronger person. It was like, no, it's like I like tore a muscle. I like tore several muscles in my brain, in my Monster Hunter brain fighting Alatreon. That's how I felt about Alatreon. But it was an incredible, because of that, it's an incredible experience. It's an extraordinary experience. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it, I guess. But I'm glad I did it. It's like the hardest thing I've done in a video game probably. So. But yeah, overall, I think I just don't think people have any leg to stand on complaining about difficulty. I think they made their bed. I think they made all of our beds complaining about it. I think they were stupid to complain about it to begin with. I don't think this development team has ever given any indication that, they were going to babyfy the game. So even when it started out and it felt easy for all of us because we were coming out of Iceborne, like, I was saying at the start, I think you can go back to my reactions and commentaries there. Like, I was saying when this game came out that they're just going to find new ways to, you know, they've given us this focus strike and like, you know, made the controls so much better. So everything feels so much smoother, easier to play and like position yourself and stuff. So what they're going to do is they're going to force you to put all that to the test. And you're going to be fighting for your life using all of these new optimized controls and like quality of life stuff to fight like some of the crazy shit you've ever seen. And lo and behold, what did they do? They dropped 9 stars. You know, they're dropping master rank level monsters into high rank, and then they hit you with Omega Planetus, which has us absolutely fighting for our lives. So, I think fair is fair. I think that's more or less the way it's going to go. I think more and more though, like that's going to be the theme is like they gave us focus mode. They made it so that you can be just getting into hunts constantly, you know, with less prep. And I think that they're going to lean into they're going to deliver us the consequences of that, which is that we are going to be slamming up against monsters that we're going to have to fight over and over again until we can beat them. And they're going to be making us do things like with these like mechanics that we've been given that we like didn't even imagine doing before. So we'll be curious to see how GOG does that, but based on how things are, going right now, it's like it's kind of unfolding about how I thought it might do. I kind of want to see him get more creative, I guess, maybe with how we damage some of these monsters and stuff like that. But I think a lot of it's probably being saved for the for the expansion as well. So all right, well, that was a good video and nice good little inspiration for a bunch of rambling on my part. So but yeah,